Hi, God bless you, and welcome to Fight for Your Family. Today, Rob and I want to talk to you about setting boundaries in our relationships. And clear boundaries are so important to having healthy relationships. We find when clear boundaries are not set, we deal with things like dysfunctional relationships, we deal with broken relationships, we even find ourselves having built up resentment and even frustration. So it's so important that we set boundaries in our relationships. Well, what are boundaries? Boundaries are just guidelines that we set in order to let people know how we want to be treated. We have a right to set boundaries.
I look at boundaries as freedom. When you know your boundaries, then if you know that your boundaries are between here and here, you have all of this room to kind of move around in. Sometimes people see boundaries as limiting, but I see them as freeing and liberating. I just want to know what my boundaries are. I want to have a good relationship with somebody. I don't want to infringe on another person. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to invade their private space. So when somebody lets me know their boundaries, it actually helps me. It makes me feel more comfortable. And that's what boundaries do. When we express our boundaries to other people, we have to understand that people love us and care about us. And when we're in a relationship with them, they don't want to infringe on our boundaries as well. So we can help them by letting them know what we're comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with.
Very true. I once heard that boundaries are not meant to be walls, but screens. We have a screen door on our front door, and I love that screen door because it lets in fresh air, but it keeps out those pesky mosquitoes. When we have those screens, those boundaries in our own relationship, we can deal and have healthy relationships and enjoy all the benefits that we get from having a relationship with one another, but then we can avoid the things that may be things that hinder us from having relationships. I don't believe that people necessarily want to treat us in a negative way, but people are going to treat us the way that maybe they've grown up and the boundaries that they're used to. So when we set boundaries, we're teaching people how we want to be treated. And one of the ways to finding out or setting boundaries is really having self-awareness. We need to really examine ourselves and identify what makes us comfortable, what's going to protect our time, and maybe answer certain questions in our lives. One of the questions we can answer is, I have the right to blank. Maybe we can fill in the blank with, I have the right to be treated with respect. I have the right to say no if it's going to infringe on my time. Another thing that we can ask ourselves is, in order to protect my time and energy, blank. And then we could fill in the blank, whatever that may be. So we really need to know ourselves so that then we can then establish those clear boundaries.
Amen. I believe boundaries, as I said earlier, were freeing and liberating. I also believe that as we set proper and healthy boundaries, that we'll have proper and healthy relationships. And it will help other people to get past difficulties and also help them to have proper and healthy relationships as well. So thank you for tuning in for Fight for Your Family with Rob and Jill, and we look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you all.